What's up, y'all? We're back. It's your Dads at Dadnarok. This is Sean.
This is Chris, and I wasn't ready for that.
Uh, you know what? We're on YouTube. You got to bring out all your energy. You got to bring your A game if you want to capture them views, boy.
Oh, we're on it tonight. Okay, that's the kind of show this is gonna be. We're going all high
Yes.
level cringe for this. Okay, well, we'll just go 6, 7.
6, 7.
Oh,
All right. That's it, everybody. Good night.
we'll see you next week. Peace.
Um, in all seriousness, we were not here last week. Whose fault was that?
That was me. That was
What
all
was
me.
wrong with you? What was wrong with you?
What the hell was wrong with me?
You were sick.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
The whole family came down with the flu. Look at that. It knocked out everything. I forgot.
It was such a bad memory. Your brain wiped it out.
I wiped out the entire weekend because of the flu. I was like,
Wow.
yeah, no, not interested in doing that again. But yeah, we made it through.
We're here tonight.
I got it the least. I mean, pretty much the family got it. We all got some Tamiflu in us, and we got through it pretty quickly. But you know,
well, that's okay. We're still going to be doing 8 movies next. I think in a few weeks we'll do a double feature. We'll do 2 movies in one, and they are connected somehow, so it makes sense.
Connective tissue. You know, you got to beat it down a little bit to make it tender.
Yeah. You could say they're caged together.
Oh, they're caged. That's okay.
well.
I'm done.
Okay. But this week we watched the 1991 film. This is for me. This is one of my picks. Dutch, starring Ed O'Neill, otherwise known as Al Bundy, especially around this time frame.
That's my wife said. Is that Al Bundy? I was like, yeah, that's Ed O'Neill.
Yeah. And I forget the kid's name, but he was in other stuff too. He was in Empire Records and a bunch of other stuff. That kid,
Ethan Embry, I guess.
Ethan Embry, that's his name. Yep.
I didn't know
Mary
the kid
Stuart
at all.
Masterson, and the guy that played his dad was also in a bunch of other movies, and he was always the same character.
Yeah, well, Christopher McDonald. I mean, he was in
Yes.
the Adam Sandler movies, and
Yes.
yeah, he was what was his name in Happy Gilmore? Crap, I'm blanking. I can't think of his name in Happy Gilmore. Why am I blanking on his name?
What was Drew Barrymore's name? Because it was going to rhyme with his.
Oh,
are you sure? Are you sure he was in Happy Gilmore? Oh, he was.
Yeah, he was the golfer that Happy Gilmore was going against.
Oh, that's right, Shooter McGavin.
Shooter, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm searching. I still didn't catch it.
I was thinking of The Wedding Singer. I was
was thinking Drew Barrymore. You lost me with the Drew Barrymore
yeah,
reference.
Whoopsie.
It makes sense on why you lost me on it, but because it shouldn't have been there.
Yeah. Christopher McDonald, he's been in a lot too.
Yeah, well, I see him and I recognize him immediately. Yeah. And I'm like, holy crap, I recognize him. He was that era of movies. Right. He was like all over the place.
2 of my picks are technically Thanksgiving films, but still same thing. Holidays, family coming together. I want to get your thoughts on this film.
Let's do this first. You got the trailer queued up?
Yeah. Do you want to watch it?
Let's go ahead and watch it after that beautiful belch.
Oh, hold on. Oh, here we go. Now we're ready to watch.
Let's roll this beautiful footage.
Lonesome, I could cry. Let me go down and get him. I'm a communicator. I'm a breakthrough kind of guy.
Your mom's on the phone. I don't have a mom. You may have a mom. I have a mother.
They've only just met.
I'm a friend of your mother's. I came to get you to bring you home.
And already, they get along like family.
I'm not going anywhere with you.
What do you like to do for fun? You like to wiggle and grunt. Me too.
So you and Doyle are getting along well.
He's not a bad kid. We're getting along just great. Come on, give it to me, pipsqueak. We're taking our time. We're seeing the country. And as Doyle himself said, nothing beats traveling the highways and byways.
Okay, sugar, what'll it be? What won't make me vomit? Give me the keys.
This isn't working out. We're not masters of the highway. We were robbed by homebound hookers.
Only because you fell asleep when I got excited.
You did?
I know where Dutch and Doyle are staying tonight.
Knowing Doyle, it'll be first class.
20th Century Fox presents the story of a boy
I got a deck of racy playing cards.
who lost the child in himself and the man who helped him find it.
Is that your most pathetic look? That's not going to get us a ride. This is pathetic. Try it. See, I'm not such a bad guy, huh?
Dutch,
You're like a great big demented child.
I think my wife has described me as a great big demented child once before. So I can't hear you.
I'm back.
There we
Dutch.
go.
That's Dutch.
So that was entertaining, and the movie itself felt very early 90s, late 80s.
Yeah.
It got laughs out of it. It kind of it falls into the same things. Your Home Alones, your Three Ninjas, all these kids just beating up adults.
Right.
But I mean, the first big laugh it got out of me was when Dutch was carrying him out on the hockey stick.
Yeah.
That was the first real laugh it got out of me.
So you'd never seen this movie before?
Never even heard of it before.
Really? So you don't even after seeing it, you were like, it didn't ring any bells or anything?
Not a bell, nothing familiar, nothing besides a few of the actors.
I remember this being on TV a bunch, and I remember maybe it was one that we rented. I don't know, but I remember we saw it a few times in our household as a kid. And you're right; it's like it hits that late '80s, early '90s itch where things were like Home Alone or Three Ninjas or Mighty Ducks, or like it's got a little bit of that, but it's also got some of the road trip comedy stuff that was popular
Yeah.
around that time. And Ed O'Neill's like he's really good in it. He's excellent.
Oh yeah, no, he was fantastic in the movie, and I was waiting for it. I was like, come on, just give him one shot. This dude, he wrecked your damn car just because. I mean, there was
that scene right after though plays so well because like he is genuinely pissed. Like he shoves him in the bathroom and he's like pushing him around and stuff and yelling at him like he. But yeah, there's a scene in the movie where they're going back and forth. They're trying to get each other's goat. And were you pretty annoyed by Doyle, the kid character, throughout the movie?
I was over this kid in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
I was done when the kid came in and let him know his mom was on the phone.
yeah.
He said, "I don't have a ma." I mean, it was even in the trailer there. I don't have a ma. I have a mother.
Yeah.
Screw you too, kid. You want the phone call or not?
In the very first scene when it shows him cleaning his keyboard and he still has his glasses on, I looked at my wife, was like, that looks like me when I was, his age.
Well, I wasn't sure if we were going to go and we were going to get the Macaulay Culkin type look, like the really
Right.
nerdy, geeky, I'm here type kid. So I didn't know what we were getting. Then when he turned around and his mouth opened up, I was like, man, I want to punch him. That's pretty much that was my first instinct. This kid needs to be punched.
But the movie knows it. Like that's kind of the point, right? Like that's his character. They're not playing it like, oh, it's so funny that he's this rude. Like, because all the other kids in his prep school apparently hate him too.
Oh yeah, no, he was not liked by
Yeah.
anybody, and he didn't care, frankly.
Yeah.
So I mean, it leaned into what it was. It really did. And the adults in it, and there wasn't a huge cast, which I think it benefited from.
Yeah,
It benefited from it being focused on those two, and then every now and then you'd have the mom figure pop in or the dad figure there at the very beginning at the end of the evening, end of the movie. So it was like little things here and there. Some cops would show up, after the accident or the trucker. or the family at the actual shelter. So
The
those little things
shelter.
here and there.
Yeah, I like how they were meeting the different characters along the road, or the two call girls, as they call
Ye
themselves.
Oh, dude, I thought it was so funny. When he woke up on her chest and he was slobbering.
Yeah,
Oh man, that
drooling.
was funny.
You were a drooler when you were a kid. You still drool?
Dude, I drowned. If I sleep deeply, I will be. My wife is threatening to throw away my pillow now because she says it's a different color. So yes, she said I am going to throw away your pillow, and I'm like, no, you're not. It's fine. Yeah, so we fight over my pillow all the time. She's like, it stinks. I said, it smells like me, baby.
So there you go. Chris is a drooler, always has
Oh,
been.
and if there's a nice set of hoo-ha's there, yeah, I'll drool too.
It's funny, there's a little bit that I never noticed in after they get out of the car, the girl, she, like, takes a napkin or something, and she's just like, "Ugh."
Yeah, she wipes off her chest a
Wipes it
little
off.
bit.
Yeah. But yeah, it is funny how it's like they just meet these people along the way, they hitchhike, they go from place to place. There's a few restaurant scenes or diner scenes. And there's some things as far as like at first Ed O'Neill actually has the money to get them out of there, but he's intentionally like doing it the hard way to spend time
Yeah.
with the kid and give him like until eventually like enough stuff happens to him on the road where his wallet's stolen and like they're actually like
Oh
trapped
yeah, he gets his wallet lifted by the
by the call girls.
by the call girls. I mean, she drugged him right in front of him. She squirted some wacky white juice all in his mouth.
Yeah.
So he got roofied essentially. He's
I
passed
assumed it was
out.
lotion. Wasn't it lotion?
I don't think so. I see when I was watching the movie, I didn't read it that way. I read it as in, like she was intentionally trying to do something to have him go to sleep. So and then we learn later that she could lift his wallet.
Oh, no, he was sleeping. He had that pinky ring, that one that comes back at the end. She was trying
Yeah.
to, because it wasn't coming off his finger, so she took some lotion or something to try to, like, lube up the, ring to try to get it
Okay.
off his finger, and it just wasn't happening until eventually she couldn't get out of the thing, so then she, like, really pushed it, and it squirted out and into his mouth as he was snoring.
Oh, and then he got the money shot. Okay.
Yeah, and
So
and another funny it keeps coming back because even at the very end of the movie, after he punches the dad and he comes back in the house, he's still, like, smacking
he's
his
got something like
mouth,
a
like
taste in his mouth.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's got a bad taste in his mouth.
Yeah, I know, but everything about Ed O'Neill in this movie was spot on. Like from
Oh,
when
yeah.
he's like he insists on going to pick him up when he knows Doyle's gonna be a brat.
Yeah.
He gets there, he drags him out, and every time they stopped, like the first time they stopped at the gas and fireworks. I'm like, this kid's gonna take off. I
Right.
figured it was gonna turn in from a movie from him taking him back to Chicago, to
Yeah.
him finding him,
Right.
and then getting him to Chicago.
Yeah.
So every time they stopped, I anticipated Doyle getting out of the car and going.
Yeah.
It really never happened. But like you see the cracks at the fireworks. You start
Right.
seeing him like enjoying or watching, Dutch just be a big baffling idiot, which was it was fun. It's his character, which was he played perfectly. But that's when you start first seeing the cracks in Doyle's character.
I love, Dutch's character too, and Ed O'Neill plays both believable, right? Like, he's both believable as this, like, big, like, goofball of kinda
Mhm.
like kid and just kinda, like, making fun of Doyle and trying to get Doyle to laugh and stuff, but he's also believable as, like, this no nonsense business owner that makes his own way as a working man and
Yeah,
like won't take shit from anybody. So
yeah,
it's like the way he was able to like bring those two different types of men into the same guy rang true to like, some of the best people I know are people like that. Where when it comes to kids, they'll be a big goofball, but like if stuff gets serious, they'll be able to get serious.
yeah. Well, yeah, it was fun like watching him like be that person with his mom, with
Right.
Doyle's mom, and then turn into like, okay, I want to make like put all the effort. Like you could feel the effort he was putting into it. Like he
Yeah.
was trying his damnedest. And I'm pretty sure there's plenty of times where he just wanted to lay this kid out.
Right.
I mean, I think even the viewers would have cheered for that. Like when he left him by the side of the road and went to that motel, I
Yeah.
was like, it's about what I thought was going to happen was he was going to go over the hill right when we stopped seeing his taillights,
Right.
and stop.
Right.
And then Doyle would find him and catch up to him at that point and go
Yeah.
ahead and let him in the car and they'll finish the trip. No, he went all
He
the way
went
to that
all the way to the
motel.
hotel, but he also, even though he was at the hotel, he kept getting up to look out the window,
He
like,
was
just
waiting for
waiting
him
for
to show
Doyle.
up, yeah. Which
Yeah.
tells me it wasn't 50 miles away. It was probably just like 2 miles up the
No.
street.
I was wondering that too, because it's been a while since I saw the movie, and he literally did say that, the hotel's 50 miles that way. And I was like, what? Yeah. And once I saw that Doyle was walking up to the parking lot, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
50
it was
miles.
only a couple miles up the street, if even that. It was far enough to prove his point.
The only scene that kind of took me out a little bit was when they got caught by those security guards, and Doyle did his little ninja moves against the two security guards or whatever. That felt very like, oh, we've got to add some like Home Alone
Well,
hijinks in there.
that's where it felt like Three Ninjas to me.
Oh, right, yeah,
That's when I seen Rocky Loves Emily. That's
yeah,
when that was happening. That was playing in my mind. And you're right, it did take you a little bit out of it. And then the gun and
yeah,
don't shoot me. I got a family. He doesn't have a family. Just that whole dialogue just kind of seemed a little off compared to the rest of it. And that's where the movie was better when it was only Dutch and Doyle.
right, yeah. Then the
So when
conversations they were having back and forth.
so when they added that extra like level in there and extra characters, the only time to me that truly worked was the actual homeless shelter with the little
Right.
girl and
Yeah,
then the mom. That felt like a good character beat. And honestly, it was. It went from when Doyle was, doing his silverware thing, and then eventually he did give half his bread to that little girl,
right.
and then
And
it came full
at first he
circle.
didn't, right? At first, like Doyle scolded the little girl,
Hmm.
which Dutch just kind of looked at him and like didn't say anything, and then just kind of looked away. And it was like, and Doyle took it upon himself to like correct himself and give her the bread. And then, only afterwards, Dutch was like, that was nice. Like it wasn't like Dutch having to tell him what to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Little moments like that where it just made Doyle's journey from the spoiled, rotten, just ass of a kid, right?
yeah.
To like, and you get an idea and understanding of why this kid is the way he is because his dad is basically like that
Well, his dad
grown
has
up.
planted in his mind that the whole reason his mom and dad got divorced was all his mother's fault.
Yeah,
Everything was his mother's fault. And he
right.
was only, I mean, we even got the dialogue a little bit at the beginning where she was like, well, if you've seen it from the other side as well, you may think differently.
Yeah,
And so you start to see that curtain be pulled away from his eyes when he made that phone call to his dad, when his dad
yeah,
was still here stateside, but he was sleeping with somebody else and she answered the phone.
right.
And then he just hung up the phone. So yeah, there's those little things that he was finding out dad was a scumbag, along the way.
Yeah, I liked the progression there. I thought it felt very natural from scene to scene, and the little cracks that Doyle would give as far as like being a little bit less of a jerk, a little bit more of just like a kid that's lost. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
um, somewhere between and both physically lost and like emotionally lost, but just like feeling abandoned by his father and like also trying to like had turmoil with how he feels about his own mother. There's that one scene where Dutch they were at the gas station after they got robbed, and Dutch was just kind of like over it. He like sat by the gas pump and was just like, "We're done. Like I'm gonna, basically break up with your mom because I'm such a loser or whatever." And I don't know if he actually felt that or if he was just playing it up, right? But it
I
was
kind of
enough.
I bought it. I bought it
Yeah,
like
I did
I'm
in the scene
finished.
too.
I don't want anything more to do with you. And because of that, now I'm not gonna have anything to do with your mother. And
Right,
just go away. Go make your phone call. Have your silver spoon come to you to
right.
take you back to the life that you only life that you know.
And in that moment, Doyle kind of freaked out a little bit because it's like you realize that he doesn't want to do that to his mother.
Mhm.
And when Dutch says that he thinks that his mother feels like Doyle hates her, that immediately like upsets him. Like it's never dawned on him that the way he treats his mother, that she would like receive it that way. Like the moment that Doyle thinks that his mom actually might think that he hates her, he freaks out. Like he starts being like, "That's not what I want."
Well, yeah, you see at the very beginning where he has that photo.
Yeah.
And he was
Right.
gonna cut it and cut her out of the picture,
Yeah.
but he didn't. He's kind of slid it underneath the rest of the paperwork or books or whatever was on his desk that
Yeah.
that Dutch found before he got a book thrown in his face.
Right. And I do like I mean, there's not a lot of, like, sentimental, heartstring kinda stuff, but towards the end in the shelter, we've kinda passed or they're most of the way there, I think. It was just 1 car ride over from the shelter over to the house. Can you imagine what it felt like for this poor couple with their little girl? They're, like, living out of their
And they
car,
pull
and
up
they're
to
living in
that
shelter.
house.
Yeah, right, exactly. But you do get a moment, if you noticed, Ed O'Neill or Dutch, he goes in the window and he tell apparently Dutch, like, owns his own, like,
Mhm.
automobile company or something, like, Dutch has his own money.
He's got connections. Yeah, he doesn't need this family's money. He's got his own.
Yeah, and the way that he offers the guy, hey, he said something along the lines of like, "Hey,
On
give me a call
Monday
on Monday, I'll
morning.
see what I can do for you," that kinda
Yeah.
thing. So it's like, once again, like, Dutch is just a stand-up guy, the kinda guy that, Doyle's actual dad could never even dream to be
Well, we got
like.
that at the very beginning with Dutch as well, because after Doyle's dad said something to his mom when he left, the conversation, he went
Right.
up to her and says, "I'm now a part of this. You hurt her. I'm gonna hit you so hard your dog will feel it, or your dog will bleed, or something like
Yeah.
that." I was like, "Ooh, I felt
He
that."
made I mean, he made good on that promise too at the very end of the movie,
Mhm.
where finally Doyle, he sees his mother in person for the first time. Doyle's dad actually, I guess, makes it over to the house and is gonna kinda steal the thunder and steal him away from the mom again. And then, he doesn't choose his dad. He's been choosing his dad, especially towards the beginning of this movie, like, each
But
and
the
every
dick
time.
thing was like he said, "Your decision's final." What does that even mean? You're his father.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. But he does. He goes and hugs his mother, and Doyle's biological dad like leaves in a fit, and Dutch just like doesn't even let the door close. The door is closing, about to slam, and Dutch kind of holds his hand out just so he can step outside, and he turns his pinky ring around and punches the guy right in the forehead, leaves a
Yeah.
dent right in his
Well,
forehead.
before he even said that is I'm his friend. I'm never gonna be his father. That
Yeah,
is your job.
right.
So the little thing he said prior to that kind of set it up, and then he thumped him.
Yeah.
Imagine how hard that was, because man, he was out. He was on his
Oh,
feet,
he
but he was out.
he was concussed. That's for sure. It was probably dangerous to let him drive away.
Well, then he slipped and busted his ass trying to get in the car. He may drive like his son right now.
I did like too the final little joke at the end, the thing with the gun, and because when Dutch first went to go pick up Doyle, he got shot by what kind of gun was that? Just like this
It
little
was
like
it was like
pistol.
an airsoft or BB gun or something
Yeah,
down those lines.
where Doyle had shot Dutch, I don't know, like 5 or 6 times, and the whole time Dutch was like, "I'm gonna get you back, and you don't know when it's gonna happen, but
I'm
just
gonna
know."
shoot you right in your ass.
Yeah, and Dutch tricks him like, "Hey, go in the other room," and yeah, it's kinda I think Doyle thinks that, like, he's gonna propose to his mom right then and there, but he doesn't. He tells the mom to get out of the way and points the pistol and gets him one last time or gets him, makes good on his promise.
Yeah.
All in all, that's how the movie ends. I think it's just a good it's not the best example of this kinda movie, but it's got enough fun elements in it where I think it's, like, definitely worth a watch around the holiday
And
season.
it's clearly a Thanksgiving movie. And how many
Yeah,
true like Thanksgiving movies are there?
not
'Cause they're
many.
really they're most of them are like will start like during the holidays like Thanksgiving, but they're mainly Christmas movies.
Yeah,
This was clearly winter break or for like Thanksgiving,
yeah.
and at the end of it, they were having Thanksgiving dinner. A big ass turkey for four people, let me say.
That's true.
That thing
Yeah,
was
but they're rich.
huge.
They're rich.
But yeah, no, I enjoyed the hell out of this. I had my phone up. I was kind of watching it. Yeah, I just like I typically always do. But uh, I I actually no, I didn't want to have my phone up a lot because I was actually streaming it from my phone because we had to get around some get around some
That's the
some
cheat
issues.
code.
But
Yeah,
this one
we
was definitely up there.
I wish this movie was more widely available. I wish I could just stream it on HBO Max or whatever, or throw the Blu-ray in or whatever, and it's like, it's not available anywhere. I had to go buy some very obscure means for you and I to actually watch it.
And I think if it was out there and it was something that would pop on let's just say Turner Classic,
Right.
or a TNT every now and then, once or twice throughout the holidays, I think this would catch more of an audience, more of a. It could. I mean, this is the type of movie that would very easily find a cult following during the holidays.
Oh,
It's
I
just
think
not
so
given an
too.
opportunity.
I think it actually has a little bit of one, maybe even because it's so limited, like you can't get it. It's almost a cult classic now because it's not available. Like you really have to do the work to see it.
Damn
It
right,
didn't
it's
used to be
limited.
that way, but huh?
Damn right, it's limited. No cup holders, no back seat. I'm sorry, I'm digressing.
I think it would be right at home at like, how like I don't know what they call the family channel now, but a lot of these cable channels they have
Oh,
like the
that
25 favorite
freeform where
Christmas.
it's like it goes like
Right.
I could see Home Alone and this, even Three Ninjas. I think there's a holiday version of that out there.
Yeah.
What a fun is to kind of have, because they have those channels now, like down up in the Ohio area called Me TV,
Right.
where it's all those old school television shows. It'd be fun if they just put all these old, like I say old, but like 80s, 90s, type of.
Old.
Well, it is kind of old now. Damn.
It's old.
Yeah, it is.
The only thing you'd have to
It's
cut
not
out is
mash old.
you'd have to cut out the racy playing cards if you were to air this on
Oh,
TV.
I didn't know what was coming, and I had Skylar in the living room with me. I was like, "Honey,
Oh
go help your
no.
mother with dinner." That was a funny scene because Dutch
Yeah.
seen it happening, and Doyle had no idea.
Yeah. Dutch did that a couple times where he feigned sleeping and was actually awake for
Just kind of
whatever was going on
listening. Well, yeah, I mean the conversation in the
shelter.
Where he actually, I think he called him like, yeah, it's my dad, and
Right.
he asked
Yeah.
if he heard him. He said he didn't even admit to hearing everything. He said, "Yeah, I heard a little bit." He said, well, when Doyle said, "I meant it," I was like, "There's character beats. Like
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
seen, like Dutch didn't change. His
Right.
character was the same character from beginning to end. This was a story about Doyle and
Yeah.
his transformation from snobby kid that has everything always handed to him to having his eyes opened to the rest of the world. And that's really
Right.
it was a come of life story for him, which
Yeah.
it is a John
John Hughes.
John Hughes movie. I mean, that's kind
Yeah.
of his thing too. So
Yeah. All right. Well, good. I'm glad you liked it then. So far so good. Medea. Medea Christmas. I'm still so glad we started with that one.
I loved it, dude. I think it was the weirdest way we could have started this.
Something a little more traditional, but a little more obscure. I called it a kind of a hidden gem. I think it's a movie that like it feels exactly like a movie of its time, and it's got good stuff in there. But like, I guess not many people know about it. I mean, you were around then. You were watching movies around that
Oh,
time, and even you.
I was around then. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was upright.
You remember
And not
1991, right?
I wasn't crapping my diapers anymore. I
This
may
came out.
but
This came out 2 years before we met. We were both in second grade when this
holy
came out.
crap, that's aging us and this movie. So okay,
Um,
let's give it a rating. I gave it. It's funny because now I got to base my ratings off of what I gave Medea.
yeah, how do we rate it? How do we go? How do we do ratings last time?
It was 1 out of 10,
Okay,
and then we averaged it together.
I gotcha.
So
Oh,
I'm gonna give it I'm giving it an 8.
that's
I
solid.
I really enjoyed it. Solid movie. I would recommend this to anybody that has access to
Yeah,
our stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, it was fun.
I also will give it an 8. That's a strong number. So
There we
8 out
go.
of
That
10.
yeah. So we're getting average of an 8 out of us. So that's
Yeah,
you don't get much better than that. You got to be a really good movie to
yeah,
get higher than the average of an 8. I think it was a 4.5 for Medea because of my high grade.
yeah. That was like a 45% on Rotten Tomatoes. This one's an 80%. So A lot
Oh, I
better.
didn't even look at the Rotten Tomatoes score. That's funny.
All right. Well, that's it. Anything interesting this week?
We had, outside of us being sick last week, and that was a
Yeah.
fiasco. We tried, and we're in the process of adding another family member to us, so another dog.
Oh, dog.
Yeah, no. I'm done changing diapers. That ship has sailed. Even though we were shopping today, and Janessa grabbed my arm and she was like, "Oh, look how cute!" I was like, "What? The baby shoes?" She's like, "Yeah." I said, "I don't want." Said, "You want another?" And I just jokingly said that, and she's like, "No, nope."
No, at this age, it's more likely to have like twins and triplets and stuff.
Oh, could you only imagine?
I
Could you
can't
imagine going
imagine.
from 1 to like 4?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that would be a nightmare. But
Uh,
in
I'm
a, in
too
a
old.
great way. In a
Yeah,
great way. But I don't know if my heart can handle 4.
that's right.
We went to one of the local dog shelters
Mm,
and we found the dog that screamed at me immediately. I looked at him, I was like, "Oh, I love him."
yeah.
So we went back with the kids, and we actually, 'cause at the local shelter, we had to actually schedule an appointment to come back, and they bring the dog out, and we kind of meet them. And if we like them, then we actually had to bring our dog. So we
Hmm.
brought our dog along, and they kind of met each other in the kennels outside. Then we put them in the same one, and they coexisted. There was a little bit of like backup or standing like setting boundaries, but for the most part, they got along fine. We were like, awesome. This looks like this is going well.
Yeah.
So they have something in place where you can bring the dog home for like 4 days, 5 days without actually adopting him. So they'll send him home with everything he needs, food, the works.
Okay.
And then you get to see if it works at home.
Yeah.
And that's when things kind of went awry. Because when we were at the kennel, we were on Peanut Butter's, his turf. And Lyle, kind of our dog, seemed comfortable enough, but
Right.
you knew, you
Right.
can tell he wasn't at home.
Yeah.
So when we got home in his house, his backyard,
Got territorial.
yeah, he got very territorial. Like he was setting boundaries, but this other Peanut Butter, the dog we had, was a mix. I mean, he was strong. I mean, literally, I threw the ball in the backyard. He got the ball and he ran at me like a piss missile, and he hit me and almost knocked me clear over.
Yeah,
It's
Peanut
like
Butter seemed like the kind of dog that we would have here at our house. We've got big. Lyle's a tiny dog compared to a lot of other dogs out there.
yeah. So eventually, Peanut Butter had enough of Lyle's shit, like
Right.
and he lunged back with a kind of a palm up and kind of smacked him.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, eventually Lyle's gonna get hurt
Right.
because he's gonna keep pushing, and Peanut Butter, like I said, is gonna realize I'm bigger, I'm the dominant male. I'm now the alpha of this house,
Yeah.
and it didn't work. And my daughter Skylar was starting to get attached. So when we seen that happen, I just kind of stood in the the kitchen while my wife was making dinner, and kind of had that hard conversation about it because I hated bringing them back. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to bring him back because I don't know how long he's going to be here, and
It's
it's just a
tough.
hard.
I mean, we had a dog last year. This dog though, we had a whole year, and just like we kept trying to make it work between having two male dogs, and most of the time it was fine, right? Except for the times that it wasn't, where
It was
every
that
now and then.
75% is good, and that 25% is really bad.
Right, and when it got bad, it got too bad, like, where, I had women in the house that were over the age of 60, and then my daughter, like, I don't want them to be in a position where they're trying to separate these dogs and they get hurt. So, yeah, even though we had him for a year, we ended up having to rehome him too, and it is tough. I mean, he was our dog for a year, but if it's not the right fit or if it's something, it's a hard decision to make. So, you're better off, you were right to better off kind of, if you know what I mean, you even get the feeling
Mhm.
that it's going to work or it doesn't. So you did the right thing by doing it earlier than later, for sure.
Yeah, we could have had him till Wednesday, but I decided it's like, I took a half day today to go ahead and I'm going to pull the band-aid off while the kids are at school
Right.
and there's no extra attachment. But it was like it was terrible. He listened, he sat,
Mm-hmm.
he was basically crate trained overnight. The first night was a little rough. Second night, he slept in there with no problem. He had one accident. He didn't go into, didn't have any accidents in his crate. And he always went outside and went to the bathroom outside. I mean, it was one of those things where it was like he was everything I'd want a dog to be.
Right.
And it just didn't work out because they had another dog already in the house, which
Yeah.
it really kind of broke my heart when I dropped them off.
Oh, I understand that. Are you guys gonna be on the lookout for another dog, maybe a girl dog?
Already trying. Yep, we're already looking.
Oh,
And
okay.
the thing is, what my thought is, even if the dog is going to be larger than Lyle, we may have to go the route of a puppy. So the
Yeah.
puppy is smaller and it's going to grow up with Lyle
Right.
and learn Lyle's tendencies and
Yeah.
everything. So when he is bigger or she is bigger, the awkwardness isn't going to be there because they already know each other.
Right.
So I mean that would be cost a little bit more though, unfortunately.
Yeah, it does. It has its pluses and minuses, of course. Like, and I'm a big fan of adopting, especially even like senior dogs and stuff, because it's so worthwhile to give older dogs a home too. Because puppies are going to historically get adopted faster than older dogs
Mhm.
anyway, right? Um, but at the same time, there are pluses too. It's like I feel like if a dog, or this goes for a kitten too, if you have them from a certain age, they get used to people better, or as far as just being like maybe affectionate, or like if a cat, like, sleeping in your lap kind of thing. If you
Mhm.
get them when they're kind of past that stage of being a puppy or a kitten, they'll love you for sure. But like a cat will be more kind of like, you know,
Standoffish and yeah. Well, that's the
standoffish,
thing with
or
peanut
even a
butter.
dog. I mean, the same thing.
He was 2 and he was laying on the ground on the floor with Skylar and just cuddling.
Oh yeah.
I was like, "Oh, he's gonna be a snuggly dog." Someone's gonna get really lucky in the right
Right.
situation, with the right. He needs a backyard. He needs a backyard. He would run around our backyard,
Yeah.
and it was like he's. You could tell when he got here for the first time. He's like, "Oh, I have all this to run in," and he was just going. It was fun, but it's
Well, good luck to
unfortunate. But
peanut butter, and I'm
yeah,
sure, if you guys are still on the hunt, I'm sure something will happen.
yeah. If you're watching up here in the Dayton area, Sika by the Dayton Mall is where we had to take him back to.
Mm.
Uh, the good sign is he was not back up on the website. So when they
Oh,
opened up, if someone reserves him, puts him on hold, they're not on the website.
I
So
gotcha.
that could be a positive sign for him.
Yeah. Well, awesome. That's a big week.
Yeah, it really was. But I don't know.
Oh.
That's about what I had going on. Anything happening on your side or anything fun,
Yeah,
unexpected?
couple things, mostly with my daughter. She got her hair chopped off. She's got like a pixie cut now. And
Hold on. What?
yeah, how her hair got. It was down like below her shoulder blades, like, and she's had long hair for a long time, and she was just like, I want to go short. So we actually got two haircuts. I took her to this fancy salon where it's a she likes it. She calls it a pixie cut. To me, it looks a little Karen cut to me, but that's all right. Like as
A
long
little
as
more of a
she likes
bob.
it. Yeah, it's a little bit of a bob, but it had more back here. And then even when she looked in the mirror, she was just like, "Ah, it's just too much back here. It's not what I pictured." So we have to had to take her a second time to get an additional haircut. She was staying with her grandmother, and her grandmother got the second time cut, but she loves it. So whatever. What am I
I was
gonna
gonna say
say?
a second haircut. Did you get your haircut too?
What am I gonna say?
Get
Another
more
thing.
hair on
Oh,
your
and
chin. No.
she was in a play. She was we had her at these Saturday lessons where she was doing like this drama, and they were learning play with other kids, kind of a theater class, and it was a 6-week course. And she ended up doing the play on a Saturday. It was about a fairy tale doctor's office. And she played the role of a dwarf that was the mother or stepmother of Snow White. And it was like just kind of this comedy thing, and she did really good. And she's enrolled in theater in school too, and they're just starting to now over the next week pick roles for that, which will be a play they'll be working on until the end of the year, and then finally they do the play at the end of the school year. So that'll be a lot of fun. She doesn't know if she's actually going to be in it or like a technician or like building sets or doing costumes or whatever, but like she's excited for that too.
She's
So
gonna have her hands in it in some way if it's gonna be on stage
yeah.
or behind stage.
Oh my gosh! And then this weekend she had those like science projects or like big projects where you have to like get the big trifold
Oh
thing.
yeah, science fair stuff.
This one is just she actually volunteered for it. They're having like this cultural event at her school where you learn about different cultures from different countries, and she volunteered for it. She picked Ireland because my name's Sean Mulholland, which is very Irish. When really we're just American mutts, but there's enough Irish in there for it to be believable, I guess. But she picked Ireland, so we had her and I together over the weekend created a whole big board full of Irish things, folklore, and I made it look like the Irish flag, and it was like an all-day project. And it's not due until this upcoming Friday, but we got it done. I was like,
Oh yeah, it's better to get one of those things done and out of the way rather than doing it
yeah,
last minute and rushing
oh
and being up
yeah,
till midnight and
it would have been Thursday night trying to put this crap together, and so
oh
that's not happening.
oh man. Yeah, no,
But
it's
yeah.
that sounds pretty awesome. Yeah, I would say the only other thing that we did is we went to a Blue Jackets game, Zach and I by
Oh, I
ourselves.
saw that.
So that was the first time we've been to a game by ourselves. Usually it's been with family, so he was pumped about that.
Yeah, did they win?
I'm spoiling. Yeah, 5-4. I'm finding out what it means to be an Ohio sports fan. It is like living with trauma always.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it's fun watching Zach, become a big fan of the Blue Jackets because he's not a fan of any team that historically struggles.
Right.
So the fact that he's learning some of this like fandom through pain, yeah, it kind of pleases me in a way. I don't know if it's kind of twisted or not,
Right.
but
That's a whole part of being a sports fan. You gotta know when to be loyal to losers.
yeah. But he's sitting in seats that I would have never dreamt of.
Oh yeah?
Like for instance, this game we went to, we were in row H. So like 6 rows from the ice, directly
Yeah.
behind the net.
Oh wow.
And it's like, I know these hockey players are big. When you're that close to them, you really get a real feeling on how big they truly are.
Oh yeah, probably loud too, like with the board checks and stuff.
It wasn't even that rough of a game. I was disappointed. I was like, I'm right here. Come on. Grind his face into the ice. Come on, let's get a little bit.
Man, that's fun. I'd like to do that at some point.
I already told Zach to say I'm going to come Black Friday. I'm looking for tickets for 3, and it's going to be me, you, and him. He said, I'm in.
Yeah, let's do it. That sounds
So
like
yeah,
a good time.
we have to have a something about that game, but that's
Did
for
they
a
ever
few
play
days.
against the Predators?
Probably. I want to say yes, but I don't know if they do. It's at home, and they only play them twice, one away, one at home.
Oh yeah.
Because that's how they just played the Oilers, Edmonton. So they played them once in Edmonton, and they turned around and played them in Columbus. So
That's all I need to do is bring you both down to Smashville down there, and we'll be the outcasts rooting for the Blue Jackets.
that
In a
would
sea
be
of yellow.
You know what? He needs that. You know why he needs? Because he's fans of home teams. He needs to experience his home team
He does.
in an away arena.
Oh yeah, I've been to a Predators game. There, I was surprised how big they are down there in Nashville. I mean, they're popular.
Yeah. I think the same way a lot of people are surprised by the Blue Jackets. They're huge in
Yeah.
Central Ohio, but outside of the Central Ohio area, it's kind of like I tried to get Zach a hockey jersey in Dayton. I couldn't find one anywhere.
That's wild.
I could not find one. I can find soccer jerseys now easier
It's taken
than I
over.
could find hockey.
Yeah, it's taken over.
But I guess that's more stories for another time. But so
You and I, we don't know. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know what? Do we want to do? Let's do Ernest Saves Christmas next week.
Okay, yeah, your choice.
Let's do Ernest Saves Christmas next week. I think
I'm
I
down.
think the Family Man needs to be a little later in the season.
Yeah.
And I think there's a few of them that are like, I'm all down for the goofy. Most of mine are goofy. I'll be straight with you guys. So,
All right. So next week, join us. Most likely Monday around this time.
Monday's
right?
probably safe. Yeah.
we'll be talking about Ernest Saves Christmas, a classic. You picked it. You've never seen it, right? Or have you?
I've never seen this one.
I've never seen it either,
Again,
but I've always wanted to. So it's gonna
another
be new
I've
for
never
both of us.
seen. So,
Yeah.
yeah, let's see how this goes. It can't be it can't be no worse than Medea.
Well, join us then. Find out about it next week. And until then, I don't know. Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving. What?
Limited edition.
Let's see you.